Time for another garden tour. This one is being done near the tail end of August as the garden starts to wane, shall we say. And I'm just gonna take a little skirt around the outside here because there's stuff outside that's as interesting as inside. And you can see the pots. Here's what's interesting on this outside. See those Trombosinos? If you go back to some of my other years to see how many Trombosinos I got, it was not like this. Yes, having a good year with Trombosinos for sure. Here's the other interesting thing. I guess you could see this from either side, but I'll take this side. These look like flowers. It was supposed to be pole bean, and I thought that they weren't, but I'm wrong. They're just a very pretty flower. Because lo and behold, there are pole beans here, and they're doing pretty good. They're doing pretty good as far as not falling prey to bugs and other things that they have in the past. They're coming along. Oops. Another one over. Whoops. Come on, down here. Well, anyway, there are beans in here. I planted a complete row of bush beans, which we'll look at inside, and they're doing well also. Beans this year doing good. Tomatoes doing pretty good. What's doing lousy? Cucumbers doing average to lousy. I never get good cucumbers. I'd love to see a year with super amounts of cucumbers, but hasn't happened. Here's something. Here's doing lousier this year, not totally lousy. The Wall of Glory. That space was not there on previous years. You go back and look at previous years' videos and look at the Wall of Glory, and it is glorious. But this year, nowhere near the coverage. Nowhere near the coverage. Now I did have to remove weeds and things because it was so high, and I think I ended up pulling some of the Morning Glory starter plants out. That's all I can guess that happened. But it didn't help down there. And I think it was growing down there. So I don't know. I don't know what happened. If the weeds killed it, and then if I had kept the weeds away but only left the Morning Glories, would it have been as great? I don't know. It just didn't work out. I think this fall I will pull out everything I can find on the top and hope the seeds are down in there, and hope for the best for future years. They will propagate. Judy has some, which maybe I'll walk around the yard and show you some of that. So let me start at the opposite end. This is totally different, so I'll do it different. I haven't done the morning watering yet. I did pick stuff. Start down here. I've really got to start, I keep saying this, I've really got to start harvesting some of this stuff. Jerusalem artichokes growing wild. There's lots of it in here. I just need to start harvesting some. And doing something with it. This is way overgrown. As I said, the garden completely got away from me this year. I still, as you can see, have not managed to put down all the black mulch. Right down this line here, along this edge of this fence, I want to put a long strip or two of it right in here to get rid of all that, so it wouldn't have to be done. I need one more strip right down the middle of this row, in between these two rows here. That's one row, that's the other. I need another strip of black mulch right there in between. So I need it between all rows. And over where you see that blue, it's a traditional tarp. I want to put black over that as well, so that basically as many places as I can to hold down weeds, I'll hold them down. And notice also, well, you can't see it from here. I gotta quickly walk over there. This stuff right here, this is not black mulch. See the difference? There's the black mulch. This stuff, light gets through, and guess what? Underneath is weeds growing. So I'm gonna cover this with some more black mulch so that weeds won't grow, so they won't get in there. So that's what I gotta do, is put black mulch. I've got a big roll of it, you know, everywhere I can. If I have to buy more, I'll buy more. And then try to weed everywhere else more efficiently next year. But it just completely got away from me. desk, this whole row was all weeds. It was pretty bad. Okay, so back to the other edge here. We'll walk up and down the rows. There's my pepper plant. I've gotten a few. I'm likely to get a few more. In fact, yeah, there is one here. There it is. I'll pick it. I didn't see it before. Okay. So over here, I never did get any squash plants growing on this row. I planted one, and I planted a seed in every one of these, and nothing sprouted. It looks like something tried to here, but it didn't really take place. So the only thing having anything growing out of it is this Trombosino, which is succeeding, as you can see. Right there's one. Oh, I see another thing to pick. Boy, these things hide from me. I don't know if it's any good. This one may be too big. Did you see it? Yeah, it's a very large, very large cucumber. So see how that works. In fact, I'm going to bring it over here and set it down, wash it. Want to see my water barrel? Yep. And I'll just put that down outside here before I forget. Actually, I got a pick bag up here, right here. I'll put it in the pick bag along with the pepper. Ta-da! All right, so instead of bouncing back and forth, I'm going to go back here again. These are going by, as you can see. This is mostly dead. And some of these are on their way. That happens this time of year as things are dying. These are squash and cucumber plants. So these will be gone. I think I see yet another possible little cucumber. Yes, I do. A little one. Yeah, part of it's in good shape. I don't know. Nah, actually, it's too squishy. None of it's in good shape. So, yeah, we're on the inside, the opposite side of where those Trombosinos are growing on the outside. There's one on the inside there. It's neat when they grow up these things. All along here I planted, because I couldn't get any more inexpensive pole beans, so I just planted a fall crop of bush beans. And I think that's going to work out well. Maybe that's what I'll do in future years. But a fall crop of bush beans, so this may be a good experiment. So there's beans that come in there, whereas the other ones really got choked out. There's not many of them, otherwise they'd still be flowering, which I'll show you in a second. But they're not producing many beans. So this is I think this is a cucumber plant here. Pretty sure these are all relatively good looking, healthy cucumber plants. Oh, I think I see one I didn't pick. No, it's not. I'm wrong. It's a Trombosino squash. I'm wrong. And so's that one over there. Yeah, it looks like I got a lot of Trombosino squash this year as I spread them around. Homer's gonna get some. Lots of tomatoes forming up here, and we've picked quite a few. I've had some big, giant slicers. There's another one starting up right there. And there's some more. They're coming in. So, and they aren't coming in too fast, but I bet you in another couple of weeks there's got to be a gazillion of them. Don't know what Judy will do. Oh, here's... Yeah, this one may not be too good. Yeah, look. It's got a bug hole in it. Well, parts of it can be used, if Judy's willing. I haven't found them to be untasty. Judy said that she didn't like them because they didn't taste good sometimes. But I haven't found that to be the case. Anyway, lots of tomato plants. And then we get down here to the Brussels sprouts, which have not been attacked by a woodchuck. The woodchuck has been ignoring the garden. Thank God. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. We'll see what we produce. There's some more over there. All of them uncaged, unprotected. Could have been destroyed. And hey, guess what this is? Yep, it's Brussels. I'm sorry, broccoli. Yeah, starts out the same way. In fact, these have gone by. I got to clip them off. They're getting, yeah, the flowers are opening up. But it keeps producing these smaller florets. I got to clip them today. I got to pick those into the pick bag. So we'll see what these Brussels sprouts do. Those are the last thing that I ever pick in the garden. Here's the first crop of bush beans, President bush beans. And we're getting a second flowering, but not much of one. Sometimes I get 3 flowerings, but not so much this year. It's just barely flowering. See the one down there? So, not doing too good. And I tried to get the grass out, but as I was trying to pull the grass out, they got way ahead. I was pulling out beans. So I stopped. But that's just as bad because either way you lose. You know, if you leave them in, they starve the nutrients for the plant. And if you take them out, you can pull the plant out with them. It's very, very tough to, you know, weed them out. So it's because I had so much weeding to do. I also started a crop of there's weeds in there that I got to take out, but there's also peas. Didn't get really any snap peas. So, and this is all weeds. So I had space to plant more stuff, I just didn't. That's my own fault. And then there's all these other tomato plants here. These have done fabulously, and they're very, very, very tasty. There's still more of them. I'm waiting them to get really, really ripe, but they're pretty. Some of them are very close to ready, and I picked a bunch today, and we've been eating them every day. And they're extremely sweet. Very, very good. More squash here. I guess that's it. Yeah, you can see what we're heavy with this year. I don't think, oh, I didn't show the Swiss chard and the other green that I was growing, collard greens and Swiss chard, which I periodically have picked through the summer. We've had at least a half a dozen to 8 meals, 8 to 6 to 8 meals of those, or at least pickings of them, and then that could go for several meals. So that's the main garden right there. And I just take a quick walk around here in the front. Mr. Chipmunk is going under my shed there. We don't have cats outside anymore, so the chipmunks have taken over in lots of holes. That's the rhubarb plant that I planted this year. It's a new one. I'm hoping I'll get some action out of it. The old rhubarb plant just died away right there. That's not even rhubarb plant. That's a weed growing there. I gotta pull stuff out of there. So much weeding I can do. You could spend your life weeding. And that's another rhubarb plant that didn't do much. I didn't pick any rhubarb this year because none of it looked worthy. Sad but true. So that's most of that. Up in the tree here, you can see it's getting fall. The tree is shedding leaves. But we do actually have tomatoes. Apples. We do have apples up in here. I can mostly see them up there. We'll see if they go away magically like they did last year. And if they don't, I will be pulling them out. And we'll try to make apple crisp and pies. However, if we don't get them from here, I have some other sources this year. A lot of them. Down the street is one. Further on down my walk is one that I don't know if the people care about or not. And at my sister's in Claremont, she said, if I can go up there, I can pick her tree. So if we want to get a bunch of apples to process, we got some. I've got accessibility. That's a good thing. Didn't have it last year, so didn't do any apple stuff at all. So what else is happening around the place horticulturally? Judy started using the compost pile again. I didn't want this to happen because it draws pest creatures come in to eat the stuff, and they carry ticks. Not a single tick this year, by the way. Mitigation worked. But in any case, she's begun using the compost pile again. I said, don't put anything in there. Throw it out. We don't need the animals coming. Oh, we have a turkey. Can you see him? Now we'll have a bunch of turkeys here. There's chicks too. Judy says there's chicks coming. I've been slowly but surely, don't call me Shirley, weeding out the weeds and stuff, and this mulched area looks great after I got it all mulched. It looks just great. And I have not sprayed the brush yet over there. That is something that has yet to happen. But definitely these two violet bushes look great. Is that right? Yeah. Is that right? Violets. No, not violets. Why can't I think of the name? They're very, very smelly. Harbinger of spring. Can't think of it. Old man's disease here. You know, can't think of stuff. CRS. Lilac, yeah. This was Judy's attempt at getting some other color, different color, morning glories going. As you can see, hers don't look anywhere near as happy as mine. For the first part of the season, none. There were no blooms. It just grew lots of leaves. Then she said the animals started nibbling on the bottom, nibbling on the leaves, and then it started flowering. I don't know if that's coincidence or what, but you can see there's two nice red flowers. I did get a few of the seeds. I did plant them over there. None of them came up. There are no red flowers over in my garden, so I don't know. What do we have here? If you look, we have two of the many turkeys that go through here all the time. Sometimes we have groups as large as 20. Currently we have about a half a dozen, and they have, Judy says, I haven't seen them yet, 10 cute chicks. But they're always going through here because Judy plays in the morning. She goes out this little clear area that I made. These guys are going to walk away if I walk over. Bye, guys. This is my driveway, and directly behind it is this path that's cleared. It used to be all moss, and now there's actually, for the first time ever, greenery growing in it, grass or something akin to grass. And down at the end is I told her I didn't want these turkeys coming near the property either. Again, ticks. I want to keep ticks out of here, and ticks ride in on other animals. And I'm doing everything I can to try to mitigate these ticks, things I've learned reading up. So she feeds them down there. She feeds birds and turkeys and stuff down there. And she feeds just plain old birds over there, but the turkeys come and clean up the ground. So this is sort of where Snow White has her fun in the morning. If you know the Disney reference, you know. Taking care of her animals. Okay, so moving on towards the front here. There is action in the front too. I'm going to go all the way to the front first. Can you see it out there? I know I can't keep this perfectly steady. We don't have a steady cam here. Be nice if we did. You know, one of these days I should get, they're getting cheaper and cheaper and cheaper. They're down to $100 now for a pretty good one. Get a drone, fly it around the property. That'd be a hell of a garden tour, wouldn't it? Yes, we have the hibiscus. And it is really, of course, going to town at this time of year. It's been trying to get rid of all of its blooms and nothing flat, you know, through the summer. But it's always gorgeous when it's doing it. These blooms are as big as my hand. Let's see if I can show you. Yeah, pretty much as big as my hand. I loved them from the first time I saw them up in Maine. Said I got to get me one of those, and I did. You know, I'm not sure what this plant here is. Another one unidentified. And of course Judy's favorite, those Japanese or Chinese lantern plants are producing a few for her. She moved her coleus up here, and I guess it's doing okay. It was doing much better up in Portsmouth where we went. And if you're interested in Portsmouth pictures, email me and I'll send you a link to the incredible gardens in Portsmouth that they have every year. This year is no exception. Looks like Judy's been at work out here. She's planted some mums for the fall right around the tree here. And this one's starting to bloom. This tree is, I don't know what kind of tree it is, but I had to trim it up so I could get underneath it. It's getting bigger every year. Alright, so what else is going on here? I guess over here along the walkway here would be the place to go. That's the big rhododendron, almost as big as this lamp. In fact, it kind of, in some ways I probably ought to trim the top off of this thing so that this lamp on the other side could shine through. You know, these are where I have my two smart bulbs, one here and the other one out there where we just were. Computers and a light bulb. This one stays on all night and goes off in the morning, and the one out there stays on until midnight and goes off at midnight. And that's the way I got them programmed up. These are irises. These are peonies right here. These are tickweed. Still a few blooms. I'm not sure what these are. Judy knows the name for all these though. And this one as well. I should get the names from her, and we should just put sticks down there and I'd know. We pulled this out. This is, you know, getting worse and worse, so we have something to go in here next year, quite possibly. And the Wall of China, as she calls it, with Swiss chard needing to be picked actually, and blooming. Is it blooming or past bloom? I'm not sure. Hosta. Next year I will cut this down to 1/3 again, and it will grow out this big. Believe it or not. And I put the pieces over where we'll be going. This is another peony which did not bloom this year. There's one peony that did bloom this year. I think that's more irises. Not sure. Black-eyed Susans, currently blooming. Echinacea. Pepper plants that are being nubbed off by deer, I can see, or woodchucks, not sure which. I don't really care. It's not bothering me. Got a couple of peppers that I can pick later. Lamb's ear. I don't know what this grass is called, but we see it everywhere, even in Portsmouth. Don't know what that is. And the cut off pieces of hosta from where you saw the big one I set out front. I keep cutting it up. This is a bush that doesn't do anything for me anymore. Hydrangea. Should have those big balls of flowers, white flowers, but does nothing. I have to keep it clear of that vent, the dryer vent. Other than that, I can let it grow, but it just doesn't get enough light. That's the problem. Even to right now, you can see it is in shade. See it? Shade. And it's in shade a lot of the day, and I think that's the problem. They don't like shade. And I can't move it, so all it does is go green and give me next to nothing. Pity. Real pity. Shouldn't have put it there, I guess. And this is Forsythia, which I also have to trim back because of the air conditioning fan there. And I didn't show you the grapes, but the grapes, there's lots of them, and they're also very green. But they'll be coming in October, September, October. And that's pretty much it. Soup to nuts. That's the entire tour. We'll probably do one more somewhere in September, unless there's something, you know, amazing enough in October to bother with, like maybe a really quickie of the Brussels sprouts if they did well. That's about all I could think of that might happen. All right, we'll catch you next time around.